Go ahead.
Okay, welcome to our July 14th meeting. As always, I will read our public participation. The Hatfield Select Board welcomes everyone to its meetings and all public meetings of the Town Hall. All regular and special meetings of the boards and committees of the Town of Hatfield shall be open to public and shall conform to the open meeting law. Executive sessions are closed to the public and will be held only as prescribed by the statutes of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It is important to recognize that the open meeting law affords the ability to listen to the proceedings but not necessarily participate. During meetings of the Select Board, an attempt will be made to find a balance between hearing from members of the community and conducting the required business of the Hatfield Select Board. For the public's information, this meeting is being recorded, and I will call this meeting to order and move to announcements. I'd first like to announce the hiring of our new DPW Director, Marlo Warner, who is here this evening, and I have John swing the camera around and say hi to Marlo. Marlo comes as a DPW director from another town, so he will bring a lot of experience and expertise to Hatfield, and we look forward to him working with us. So thank you to Hatfield, Marlo. And later, I think we'll go over the DPW issues. And not only is he DPW director, he's also manager of facilities. So he's wearing a couple different hats. Under announcements, the Channel 15 is still experiencing trouble. That's a Comcast issue. I have no update on when Comcast will have Channel 15 back, but for now, we'll be streaming as always with John. The cable for the new TV studio has been run over to here, and it's just getting everything hooked up. I'd like to say thank you to the DPW, Tony, Dwayne, and Kenny for jumping in on a sewer pipe break last week. They repaired it, got it done within a couple days. So thank you for jumping on that emergency. The heat is excessive. Try to visit the COA. It has a cooling center, but check with the COA for times available for the cooling center. They do have a nice library down there and board games. And the last comment I have is the summer series concert continues, and it will be another one this Friday, I believe, but always check the Town of Hatfield website to check for news on the concert and updates. Do my colleagues have any announcements, Luke?
The only thing I was going to say, again, thank you to the DPW for handling that sewer break and getting the road back open in a timely manner. That's all I have.
Okay, Greg?
I'm good. Thanks.
Okay. With that said, under announcements, is there anybody here for a public forum? With no one here for public forum, we will move to our minutes. If I have a motion on the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve of the June 24th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion?
No.
Motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, those would be the minutes. The next part of posted business would be topic 1, which is the memorandum of understanding for our Franklin County Solid Waste Management District. We've had this for a number of years. It helps save us some money, and it's basically the regarding hauling and disposal of sludge from the wastewater treatment plant. And as you know, costs have risen, and I think the location of where they now have to move the sludge has changed. So they're traveling even further away to remove it. So we just can't help with the cost. But being with the Franklin County Solid Waste Management District, we do save a few dollars. Do we have any comments from you on this?
No, I think
Looks good to me.
Then with that said, do I have a motion on it?
I'll make a motion to approve the Franklin County Solid Waste Management Agreement.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Topic 2 is the FY26 Veteran Service Contract with Northampton. As you know, we lost Jerry, and It's been hard to find someone to fill those shoes, but Northampton Veteran Service has jumped in to help us out over the last few years. So they provided us another contract. I don't know if you have any update on this contract or,
No, they gave us what we could predict for costs earlier this year. Those were budgeted for, so this isn't anything different from what we thought would be happening. The cost did increase, as you can imagine, just for staffing and for other things. They also were helpful in just letting us know what to budget for veterans benefits for this year. But they take care of anything that we need for veteran services, and so far we've heard that people are getting along fine with getting the help that they need from Northampton. So this will be our
Good.
second year doing this.
so any motion on this?
I'll make a motion to approve the Veteran Services contract with Northampton.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Topic 3 would be the appointment of Ronald Warren as alternate building commissioner. Any concern on this from my colleagues?
No, it looks like his holds all of his required and then some credentials, as well as has served as a building inspector in multiple other towns. So I think,
I'm happy that Kyle has a backup.
Yeah.
Because he can't always do everything, so I have no problem with this.
I think this is great.
Okay,
looks good.
I want to thank him for stepping up to be the assistant building commissioner. Do I have a motion on this?
I'll make a motion to appoint Ronald Lauren as alternate building commissioner.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Topic 4, we can't do until 6 o'clock because that's a public hearing. So I will move to topic 5 on the wastewater treatment plant change order 2. Do we have any update on this? I don't know. We do have David Prickard here with us this evening. I mean, David's been with us, this town, for quite a few years and has helped us in many ways with our water rates, our sewer rates, and also our plant. So I don't know if you want to make a comment or Andrew wants to make a comment.
Well, I'm happy to get started just with the information that was given
Okay.
to us by DPC and the folks working on this project. If there are further questions, we get into the weeds, then I will absolutely throw things over to Dave. So this is a pretty normal change order, just comes out in the line of doing this work. This is a change order that would add inline cleanouts to the 4 downspouts that are currently included in the contract pricing for the new Headworks building. So the cleanouts are going to provide us with an accessible way to maintain and service the roof leader system over time. This is something that our engineers recommend adopting because it's proactive change to support the long-term system reliability and the ease of maintaining it. So it helps with the maintenance. So this is it's the change order is for $11,000, $11,457. It's a relatively small change, and it can be approved just by the select board. So I'd recommend going forward with this. Again, if there's more questions, then Dave can definitely answer them.
Okay,
I mean, I have some questions with the amount of labor involved to install $300 worth of PVC. I mean, it's $4,100 in labor to install a clean out. It just seems rather excessive. Just curious where they're getting that number from.
Yeah, I'd imagine just the work is probably more complicated and technical than the materials themselves, but I don't know if Dave has anything to say to this.
Yeah, thanks. Dave Prickett with DPC Engineering. I'm a bit embarrassed to say that I came prepared tonight to talk about the water and sewer rates, and I didn't know that that was even on the agenda. But just by way of background, I can speak anecdotally. That was a change order that was brought up by the operations staff to Kenny's point and the contractor relative to the details. these are pretty frustrating, Luke, on these Chapter 149 jobs with all of the trades and how things work. I'd have to say that I'd have to go back in and really drill in to look at it. What I can say macroscopically is that all of the work that's considered at this point, we're into the grant. So it isn't an additional cost to the town. We could certainly go back and take a look. Historically, when we've had PCOs come up, we've kind of gone over them at staff level and then during the monthly meetings. And, I certainly, if we want to add another invite to the monthly meetings, we'd welcome that if you're available when we do that. But I don't know if the board might consider authorizing Andrew to go back and try to negotiate more favorable terms. It could be a little bit of an endless do loop, and I don't discount the fact that $11,000 is typically a lot of money for such a small scope of work, but it's, as these projects go, a pretty small change order. I don't think I've answered your detailed questions, and I honestly haven't drilled into that one myself, so.
No, I mean, just professionally, I've installed a lot of cleanouts, and usually takes a couple guys, maybe a couple hours to do it, as long as there's not, crazy adverse conditions. And it just seems that 40 man hours and 1 days of work with a operator, a general foreman, and 2 skilled laborers to complete the task, it just seems pretty darn excessive in my opinion. Obviously not knowing exactly where they're working is something to consider, but it just seems very high. But
Happy to go back and negotiate if that's something that the board's interested in.
Or maybe it can be explained to us.
We can certainly ask for an
That would be-
explanation.
That would
Yeah.
be a great start.
I just, I've been involved in other projects of larger scope, and change orders is typically where a lot of contractors like to slide a little extra money in there to help absorb some costs. And like if we were talking, if this was a 50-50 split between materials and labor, I probably wouldn't have as much of a problem with it. But it's $300 of parts, $306.75, and $41.45 of labor for 4 guys to put in a clean out. It seems very excessive. So I'm not comfortable with it.
Okay, we can go back, right, and we can
Certainly.
and get an answer. Maybe there's more to it.
There
than
absolutely could
what
be, and
we're
there could be
seeing,
something
right?
I'm not understanding, and
That's fair.
I'll fully
And this
accept.
won't, and by not voting for this, it's not going to impact the project that much.
It
right?
shouldn't
If
set us back, I don't think, but
No,
We
I
can check.
suspect it's not like of critical importance relative to the schedule, but relative to kind of where the site work is, I wouldn't want to delay it for a couple of months. Another option would be to authorize the work on a time and material basis and just track things. That's another way that you can do things. But
Be comfortable with that?
I'd be more comfortable with I can make myself available to come and meet, whether it's on site or in a meeting of some sort, to be able to get some better explanation. If that's agreeable. If not, then I mean,
I have no problem with you coming in and doing that. I don't know if we can authorize it based on that. I mean, that's one way, right? We can say if after the meeting or during the meeting, Luke meets, if they negotiate something, we authorize it, or should we wait on that?
you could do that. You could say, pending a meeting and further explanation, you would authorize supporting the change order. You'd still have to sign it, so I think that's fine.
Well, would waiting another month throw them off by that much? Or
If we find out that it
however
would be
long
a huge problem, we could set up a special meeting too, if you
Yeah.
needed to.
Andrew,
But
maybe you can connect Luke and
Yeah,
Ben,
that's what
who's
we'll
on
do.
site every day.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll
Okay,
connect
that's
Luke
fine.
and
I
if
mean,
you
if-
want to make some kind of motion.
I mean, you meet with them, and then if we get a good explanation and you're happy with it, then we could meet
we have a special meeting.
Friday
Yeah.
or something, a quick meeting,
Yeah, that'd
and
be easy.
I'm good
and
with
get it
that.
authorized so we don't delay the project.
I'm comfortable with
Fair
that.
enough? Okay. So
Great.
we'll move on to topic 6. Topic 6 is contract for construction services between the town of Hatfield and Capital Carpet and Flooring Specialists.
Very good. So this is a contract that would be for the removal and replacement of the floors, of carpets at Smith Academy. As you know, this project was approved at town meeting. There was a capital transfer for $75,000. Early budgets for this project were at $85,000. So we were well covered between the money that was transferred of the 75 and a $40,000 from TreeWorks that we had planned to use for this project. So with contingency, we thought we'd be in a good shape. The bids came in pretty low. We had 3 bids that were done by 3 strong companies, all coming in well below the budgeted price. The low bid was from Capital Carpet and Flooring Specialists at $67,575. The next highest was $68,585. So very, very close to each other.
Wow.
Capital Carpets, we've worked with before. They did the downstairs Council on Aging floors. So this is well in their wheelhouse. I'm in touch with the company now, and they intend to move forward with the work. The contract does specify what date it would take place, so it needs to be finished before school begins. And they've indicated that they will be able to meet that date. So we have a contract here for you tonight, the draft version, and then in your signature folder, there's a slightly different version. I just filled in the date of today, and I filled in the president of the organization. His name is in here now. But otherwise, it's the same that's in your packet. If you authorize signing that contract tonight, you can sign, and then I'll compile the rest of the contract with the signatures that we need from town council and the accountant, and from Capital Carpet as well. But we should be good to go on this contract.
Any questions?
No, I'm glad Capital Carpet came back because they did the downstairs and that was pretty satisfactory.
Yeah, they
And that-
did a good
So
job.
we can, I feel better knowing that we've done business with these people already once. That's
Yeah,
good.
the next low bid was from a local company that also would have been excellent. So
good.
we're in good shape.
I have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Smith Academy floor replacement contract.
Second.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And I do want to thank Andrew, and I believe Connor worked on this with Capital Carpet to get this contract done quickly, so the carpets could be done before school is open. So thank you.
Relatively quick bid process, so it was good.
Okay, we're still before 6, so we'll go to topic 7, contract for owner's project manager services at Hatfield Elementary School. This is the roof replacement and boiler replacement project. And we met with Kyle, myself, and Andrew met with and discussed 5 various submittals, and we interviewed 2. So I don't know if you want to follow up with anything else.
Yeah, our committee also consisted of Connor Driscoll. He couldn't make the interviews, but he gave us his feedback as well. So we're required under Mass General Law that if a project is above $1.5 million, we need to either appoint or hire an owner's project manager. Given that we had a transition going on in DPW and we didn't necessarily have a natural fit for a project manager on staff, we decided to go the hiring route. And we opened a qualifications-based process to hire a owner's project manager. We had 5 very strong bids. And as the chair was mentioning, we decided to move forward with a bid from PCA 360 LLC. They're registered as being in Needham, Mass, but they do work all over the state and beyond. They put an impressive presentation together and have a good project team that'd be able to work with us. Their prices were comparable to the other folks we were considering. I think we can potentially hold off on this contract. There's an important part of it which we don't have yet, which is what the total not to exceed amount of this contract will be. So we're still waiting for the final figures from them. I sent them this as a draft, and they'll be sending back their version of the contract. So we should probably hold on this, and then if we do a special meeting again at some point, should be able to vote on it then. The other thing you could do is authorize signing of it for, say, an amount up to a certain level and pending no other major changes to the contract. But I'm also happy to wait.
Well, if you feel the wait, that's fine. And actually, it might be ready when Luke meets with the contractor, and that we could do both at the same time.
That's certainly
So,
the hope. Yeah.
Okay, we'll move forward then.
Unless there's any questions now on the drafts that I should be aware of as we're finalizing the draft contract.
You guys have any questions?
No, I guess my only question was, I mean, how long has this firm been in business?
That's a great question. I can't remember from their materials to the top of my head.
How
Let me
long have
find
they
that
been in
out. Back to you.
business?
Yeah, like, have they, and
they
have
have
they
a
had
quite-
projects of this size before?
I forget
or-
they've
yeah.
done a lot of different projects. They've
alright.
done a lot of different roofs. They've done schools. They've been in business, if I recall, quite a few years.
If you like, I can
And-
get you a copy of their proposal. That'd be helpful.
Yeah, I just, yeah, that was just my only question, making sure that it was someone who's qualified to handle a project of this magnitude.
Yeah, and we felt comfortable with their resume.
Sounds good.
and Similar
Okay.
projects.
Okay, so we'll hold off on that and move to topic 8, which is approval for lease financing for town vehicles.
So this is another one where we won't have the documents to sign tonight, maybe by the end of the week. We had some updates to the lease documents with our lease company, and they'll be making those updates for us. We've gone through the process of getting the final quotes and deciding on the final vehicles that we'd like to move forward with, the ones that were approved at town meeting, or very similar vehicles. So I made a list for you here of what was approved and then what we're planning on moving forward with and what the cost is at this time. And then I will also give to you, once I have them, the final lease documents and the quotes that we have from the vendors. But we're looking to be in pretty good shape. The vendors are on here. We stayed mostly around or under the planned cost for these vehicles. The most significant one is we were looking at a Western Star dump truck before, and we've ended up going with something that's a little more suited to the work that's going on daily at the DPW, a 2026 Freightliner M2, which has multiple bodies can be attached to it. It's a little more versatile as a vehicle. So that's going to come in below the 320 that we'd planned for before, instead just under 300K. The boom mower price also came in lower than was expected, which is great. And then we have a COA passenger van quote, the 2 trucks for water and sewer, F350 and F450, and then a highway F550 1-ton that we're planning on pursuing as well, which is already deliverable to us. It is at the lot already, which is great. So we'll be able to get like a 7 to 10 day
We're
delivery.
still waiting for we're still waiting for stuff for this, right?
Yes, exactly. We're still waiting for lease documents, so we don't have to sign anything today,
Okay.
and we don't have to make a motion today.
And any questions on any of this? Because this was all approved at town meeting
Mhm.
It was.
on this stuff, so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
It
right,
was.
so
The,
that's,
the town meeting vote gave us the ability to enter into a 5-year lease to own process.
so maybe the documents will be ready when we meet with the other stuff. Who knows?
Things
right?
might work out just perfectly here. We'll see.
Be interesting to see how far out these are for getting in here.
Yeah, it's a range. You know,
Yeah.
one of them at least, I think they quoted us at like 8 to 10 months, and then another one's going to be 8 to 10 days. So there's a range.
Well, since we're still have 8 minutes before hearing topic 9, maybe Marlo wants to come up to the microphone and introduce himself officially. And I don't know if you want to say a few words.
Thank you. Can you hear me all right? I just want to say that the first 2 days here has been nothing but phenomenal, working with the town hall staff, working with the DPW staff. Everybody's been very welcoming. Got a lot of paperwork done the last 2 days. I got a wonderful tour of the town. Thank you to the select board chair. So I've dove right in, a lot of stuff, you know, I have experience with, but I just have to understand, you know, how Hatfield does things. Got the whole IT thing straightened out, whole new set of rules going back to Microsoft from Google and Greenfield. So, but I think I got a pretty good handle on that. But I did want to just say thank you to all the staff and even the DPW staff bringing me up to speed on where things are at. I still have to track down two of the staff members and introduce myself, but I think we're off to a good start here. And Luke, I'd be more than happy to join you with that contractor.
Sounds great.
It's one project I haven't really dove into and read about a lot yet. So I'd be happy to join you if you'd like me to.
Yeah, we can discuss times.
Yep.
When we meet later this week.
And thank you, and welcome again. And while we're in DPW report, we, first topic was Route 5 project. We still have 7 minutes, so what we did receive was the punch list, and we have some updates from the punch list. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to review that. I don't know if you have any comments on the process of the punch list at all.
Yeah, so last week we sat down with Tony and Brandon from the water department and Dwayne from highway, myself, Andrew, and we went over the original punch list that we created, as well as the punch list that was given, that we updated last meeting with the reports from the residents. We talked about things that have been completed to a satisfactory level, and then other things that are still in need of repair, which is all documented on the sheet that you guys have in your packet. Today I was out with Tony and Brandon and DPC, and as part of that, the grant to camera all the lines and stuff, we were able to take advantage of those monies and camera the new sewer line and find any issues that may have arose. So there'll be a full report, I'm assuming, in the coming weeks or so, with the findings from that. So, actively, there's still a lot of active things that still need to be finished and taken care of. And so as we move forward with discussions with dealers, we'll keep everyone apprised of what happens there. So, Andrew, do you have anything else?
No, it's a good summary. So we had sent this updated version after the meeting from last week and haven't really gotten any edits on that yet. I know CEI is working with Gallagher on this. I've been coordinating this with CEI, and I think Gallagher may have been unaware of some of our reactions to this, but I'm sure that we will get this figured out. As you saw, there was I actually met with Marlene Mashansky as well, just to make sure that our records on the project are up to date. I went through all of the financials and found that on the Gallagher contract, we have about $408,000 outstanding. So there's about $200,000 in retainage left on that contract. So we'll make sure that that's paid when all the things in our punch list are complete. So that's the plan.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Nice.
That's great.
So they'll be finishing the camera work tomorrow,
Cool.
Which will be added to our file that goes in with all of the rest of the streets from the town. So while they were in town, it's important to take advantage of it, and it gave us much better insight onto some of the goings on underground. So, but yeah, so we're just waiting back for Gallagher's response, like Andrew said.
Perfect.
So.
Okay, any more updates on the DPW report? I see pickleball location. Was
Yeah,
that
these I can go through pretty quickly. So pickleball location, I don't really have any updates, but there was a request from a resident who works with the pickleball, Julie Pocola, to ask us if we'd thought more about her request earlier to consider the addition of pickleball at the Elm Court facility or somewhere nearby. So I just wanted to make sure that we have that on our radar still, since that is still a request from the community, and we said that we would look at that with DPW. So we'll make sure to do that now that we have Marlo on board. There's $400,000 that was set aside from CPA funds for pickleball facilities somewhere. I don't know if thoughts on that have changed since we found kind of more temporary solutions from using school and town facilities and pickleball, but also We have this large pickleball private facility coming in as well. So I don't know if that's changed any thoughts on whether those funds are still, best allocated towards pickleball. But if we do want to try to use them, we can think about if there's locations that make sense.
I know where the location they were talking about, where that we have the new building and stuff, and I've been over there a couple times, and I'm not sure if it's gonna fit in there.
Yeah.
And I rather hold off and see what Marlowe comes up with down the road with a use for that area, what makes sense, because there's a lot of, it's already busy over there with a second building and some other stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure it'll fit.
Right.
And then there would be security issues of, because we have the gate locked, if you have DPW stuff in there and people coming in and out, that would be another concern. So it might be a lot of different issues, but I'm not positive. I guess we can hold off on that.
Yeah.
With that being said, I think it's 6 o'clock. I can move to our hearing, so I will stop there on the pickleball, and we will move to our hearing on water sewer rates. And before I open the hearing on water sewer rates, I do want to thank our subcommittee, which I think was Luke, Andrew, Sean Berry, and David Pickard. I believe you guys all met and had.
David Kier was.
And David Kears, okay. So thank you for your time and effort on helping us figure out our water sewer rates. I don't know if David Pickard, I picked on him earlier. I put him on the spot. I'm sorry for that, but thank you for your info. And I'll let you before I open the hearing, I'll let you make some comments. How's that sound?
Yeah, I think I don't really have any precursor comments. We've been through this, several times. I feel like over the last 3 or 4 years, we've kind of like gotten a little closer to steady state in a good way on both sides. So this year, I think the trend continued. I think we're kind of back almost to the point where we kind of want to be in terms of not only setting the rates, but budgeting and being comfortable and seeing how things land. So.
Okay, so I will open the hearing and the process will be for public comment. So is anybody present for public comment? If nobody's present for public comment, then I will close public comment and we'll move to discussion. I don't know if you'd like to say something since you're on the committee, or Andrew, on any comments on the water sewer rates.
I'll start just very briefly, just to give a little bit of overview of how we ended up in this place. I think there were a few values that we led with. We want to make sure that we're absolutely covering the budgeted amount this year. So the budget kind of drives what the rates are, and that budget was approved at a town meeting. The increases were not incredibly significant for each department, but they both do need to cover increases in labor costs and in a number of cases supplies. And also when I went through the budget this year for water and sewer, there were a couple lines that had historically been underfunded. It's specifically for some funding for maintenance, and in the cases of breaks, of being able to fix those. So while you never know exactly how much you need, we had historically underfunded those. So we brought that up to a certain amount. I think that should serve us well in the future because it's a more accurate forecasting of what our budget will look like for both of those departments. So that was one item. The budget, of course, drives the costs there and drives what the rates need to be. The second piece was making sure we understood the impact of capital projects and debt on this budget and setting the rates. And historically, the general fund does pay for the vast majority of the capital costs for water and sewer departments. And that's a decision that's been made in the past and approved, through town meeting votes and through our debt exclusion processes. There are 2 projects, one for water and one for sewer, that are not covered by general fund debt. These are entirely paid for by enterprise fund debt. One is for the gravity thickener upgrades project for sewer. The other is for the water filtration plant project, a small part of that that's paid for by the enterprise account. So first piece was just the overall budget. Second piece was debt. And then the third piece was this question of where do we want to land on retained earnings? and bringing up our retained earnings to have a greater proportion of the annual budget is just a helpful thing to have for these enterprise accounts, so that if something unexpected does happen, you build some kind of rainy day fund, you build some kind of contingency plan for if there's large projects that need to be funded immediately. We're in a much healthier budget position for that. So those are the three things we kind of led with. And once you answer those questions about how much capital, normal operating costs, and contingency, retained earnings you have, the rates kind of come together pretty quickly after that. And we landed in a place that I think is a responsible increase that puts the department in a good position for both water and for sewer.
Thank you for the explanation, far better than I could have put it together, but
Nice.
any more comments from my colleagues?
No, I understand it.
I mean, it's always been tough in this town. We've always been behind the curve on raising the water sewer rates to maintain our costs for operation costs and the maintenance costs and salaries. And unfortunately, there's a lot of costs that we don't have control over, which are the electricity costs and buying parts and type of stuff like that. So I don't know if anybody else wants to make a comment from the committee. I don't know if David wants to say anything or.
I think we talked about a lot of things. I think one of the things that we talked about in finance is what percentage of the stuff comes from the users and what percentage comes from the residents, because the residents often make comments about why are they, some residents who don't have access to sewer, why are they paying part of the sewer bill every year, even though they don't get any real benefit out of it. So something to keep in mind. And another thing that we talked about, and Dave advised, against what, but so in other towns, as I've learned more about this, is we just have a regular residence and agricultural rate. Other towns have commercial rates. They have municipal rates. It might be something to look at down the line of a tiered sort of system. Not that we have all this commercial business out there, but we do have some. And should they pay a little bit more of the bill than the residents do? That's what it typically is in other places that have something like that.
I know the argument also on the other side is for the non-sewer users, the whole purpose of the sewer line is to get businesses to come in.
Correct.
And if businesses come in, they won't come in unless they have a sewer line, and that offsets the tax rate. So it does benefit the whole town in a way. So there is a
Hopefully this
argument to be
project on
made.
Route 5 will generate more businesses coming to town, generate more fees. I know that one of the last minute things that happened was that Brockway decided that, or whether they're not Brockway anymore, they're Boise Cascade or whatever they are now, is hooking up to the sewer. And so that's going to be another large user, which can only help, as
I know we've had over the years a lot of inquiries on 5 and 10, and once they found out there wasn't a sewer line, they said no. But it's always in this town maintaining our farmland, but also bringing in businesses to maintain our tax rate, offset our tax rate. So.
And the next piece is we're going to take that same project that we went south with and take it and go north.
Right, that's what.
Somehow, some way, whether we get that process started with a design, of some kind, so that you have an idea of what something like that's going to cost, because you're looking at millions and millions and millions of dollars to do something like that. So certainly not on the backs of the taxpayers, but certainly on the backs of hopefully different kinds of mass works and things like that are out there possibly.
Any other comments?
Just to echo what Andrew said, one of the things that we all marked as a top priority is getting both of the water and sewer funds split and both bolstered up pretty heavily. And then like 2 days after the meeting, we had the sewer main break on Main Street. So it really kind of proved the point. But yeah, so that is something that we put a lot of priority in. And so some of this rate increase is to try to get those those retained earnings balances up. So just make sure the public's aware of that. And
I'll just add, the one variable we can't control or know going into budgeting is how much water people are going to use, right? So last year, and even to an extent the year before, consumption was down. So when consumption goes down, it's, inversely directional with the unit cost. So we're banking on this FY '26 to be similar to '25. I think it's probably a pretty fair bet based on what we've seen so far this summer. People are probably going to use a decent amount of water. But, each year we just, fine tune the dial. And to your point, there's nothing wrong with looking at different rate structures. In my experience, learning the hard way many times, trying to make compound changes is when we get in trouble. So when we make, 2 changes with the big dial, so what we're trying to do now is just make maybe 1 change with the big dial and then just take the small dial and fine tune it. Because sometimes you make changes thinking something's going to happen and then users do something different. And then at the end of the year, you're sweating, I'm sweating. So.
And speaking of that small dial, so there is an increase this year in the agricultural rate. That's something we had held off on in past years. There's a desire to try to get that agricultural rate to closer to around half of the residential rate. I think that's easier to explain, and it's understandable why it would be set there. So we're making some progress towards that number for this year. We're not quite there yet, but making some progress.
And to build on that, other surrounding towns have equal funded agriculture or equal rates for both ag and res. Hadley being one of them. So we thought that 50% is pretty fair. And then that way, once we get to that 50% mark, everything will just change in accordance after that point. So this gets us a little closer to that number. It's not quite there, but rather than doing one big jump, we felt it was better doing a couple steps. So
Don't feel too bad. You're more than fair with that agricultural rate. You've done a good job protecting the farmers, but there aren't many of those separate rates out there anymore, to your point, Luke. So.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
No.
I thank you all for your comments. I think it's good to try to explain to the taxpayers why there's increases and it's painful for everybody, but it's a reality. So do I have a motion on this?
I'll make a motion to approve the water sewer rate setting as presented.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I then will close the hearing on the water sewer rates. Motion is done. So
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
thank you, David. We will go back to topic 9. There's still a park bench donation.
Yeah, this is just something I wanted to check in with you on quickly, since it's the first time I've dealt with this in town, and want to know if anyone had a procedure for this. So there's an interest from a local resident to donate a park bench. This will be in Smith Academy Park. It would be in honor of the resident's father. So this is just something that I wanted to go over to make sure that based on location, is this an area where we'd want another bench? Is this something where we'd ask for the full cost of the bench to be taken care of by the resident? If so, what would we think of as a maintenance plan? Your benches typically last between 5 and 10 years. So what would happen after that point? And then is this something where we'd want like a plaque on it, and would the resident pay for that as well? So just curious if we had a procedure for this. If we don't, I'm happy to help put one together.
Well, since I've been on the board, I do not recall any donations coming,
Yeah.
but I would assume that if there's a donation, then the board would have to accept it.
Mhm.
And I don't know what I remember the last time there was park benches, there were people that had paid for the park benches located with a name. And so there was some kind of policy prior to getting on the board. So it has occurred. And I think there's been donations over the years, like to the fire department or to other organizations. So I don't find it an unusual thing. And I'm assuming that a donation is, if the board accepts it, then
Is this something that the board would be comfortable, moving forward, at least in discussions with the resident, and just find out what they'd
so.
like to do?
Absolutely.
I think the biggest point for me would be to make sure that it matches the style and construction of the other benches that are already existing.
Great.
Yeah, I don't know how the other ones got to be there.
I'd assume was part of the rest of the project, but
Yeah, but I mean, what the process was to get those there and how that happened.
great.
And then the only other cost to consider would be, there would be some level of site work that would be required, like all the other ones sit on a concrete pad.
Right.
If the person looking to make the donation, if they would be paying for that site development, or is that something that the town would then have to
Yep.
have the DPW do or something like that? So,
Yep.
but that's a conversation to have with them. But
Great. Good. All right. So if you're comfortable with moving forward with that, I'll update you at the next meeting on just what that looks like and get that approved.
I'd like that.
Perfect. Okay. Personnel. Couple quick updates. So the first is that in your folder tonight, there is a wage form for Marlo Warner. While he has a contract, we did also need to just get that form approved. I assume we need a vote on that, but it's really nothing you haven't already approved by approving of this contract. So you can take care of that. Just on the personnel side, as you know, Garrett Berry's last day with the town was June 20th. And Dwayne has been serving as interim superintendent. Just want to say that he's been doing a strong job so far. We've not yet posted the position of superintendent, just to give us time to work through this transition and bring the new director on board. But we're planning on doing that shortly, if that sounds good to the board still. And again, it will be the hire of the director, and then the select board will sign off on that. If that sounds right.
Okay.
I don't know if you had anything else to add on that, Marlo.
Working on it. Kind of diving in. Like to get the department organized first. That position is really important. I know it's 90-something degrees out, but before you know it, we'll be hooking up plows. So I think it's all important to have the staff set and, put everything into place. So you should be hearing something from myself and Andrew in the next day or two.
Okay. So that takes up that issue, or we don't have to vote on that, or do we have to vote on the last item?
On the wage
It's already
form,
been approved,
you've already
so-
approved it by approving the
So we
contract.
don't need to vote
so,
on it.
I think, but
So I'll move to topic 10, town administrator report.
oh,
Oh,
David, something.
sorry.
I was just thinking about something that I was informed by one of our people here. We never stated what the new water and sewer rates were going to be. I don't know if that's an important number to share with everybody, that, it was this, it's going up to this, and it was that, it's going up to that. I don't know if that's something that's important or not, if you should put it in, put it at least on the record for tonight's meeting or whatever on the.
Okay, I'll read it
Good idea.
then. So, under the Hatfield sewer rates, and this is rate per 100 cubic feet, the second half of billing was $13.87, and their proposal for 2026 is $14.98. Under Hatfield water customers rate per 100 cubic feet, the 2025 second half billing was $7.07 for 100 cubic feet, and the 2026 proposal is $7.49 per HCF. And for Hatfield water customers, agricultural rate, FY 2025 was $3.27, and that's going up to $3.47. And thank you for bringing that up. And this has been posted on Facebook page and posted on our webpage too. So if you've forgotten what I've said, just go to our website and you'll see it on the website. So thank you, David. Okay, so topic 10.
Okay.
Committee updates.
Yep.
Town administrator report.
So
right?
town administrator report, I'm trying something different for you tonight, and I'd like to be doing this more often, but just putting together a report for you that I can also then share with the public, so it's a helpful thing to have. I went through projects, grants, that DPW update, and then committee updates as well. So committee side's on the second page here. There's 3 committees that you've appointed me to, and I just want to give you very brief updates on all 3 of those. We have the Opioid Settlement Funds Task Force, an ad hoc committee that will make recommendations on how to use the settlement funds for combating the opioid crisis. They ran a successful survey with 120 responses, give or take. I think it was a little more than that. And got a lot of good feedback about what the strategies that the town is interested in us using those funds for to address the opioid crisis. They are putting together a detailed report that they would like to present as soon as at your next meeting. So in August, we'll come forward with a report. That should be great. And then either at that meeting or at a future one, they'll also bring in like a draft budget, an idea of what they'd like the funds to be used on. So we can get started with that, which is exciting. We have a bylaw review committee that's been meeting every 2 to 3 weeks for the last couple months. Select Board Member Gagman's a part of that. That's been a good process. We've met with a number of boards, commissions, and departments in the town to get their takes on what sorts of things might need to be addressed in the bylaw review process. And around now, based on the schedule that we wanted to put together, we're in the process of putting together all those changes, compiling them, and starting to make some recommendations. We're also going to compare across other towns' bylaws and think about, is there anything big picture that we're really missing here? So that should be ready for some public presentations in the fall with a plan of trying to bring those proposed bylaw changes to town meeting next May. And then the Comprehensive Plan Implementation Committee held its first meeting in June. We'll meet again in July and August. The good first meeting reviewed the comprehensive plan and talked about some of the different buckets of recommendations that it had. And what we want to do is try to put a more detailed timeline together, thinking about what the next few years we want to try to address and who will be responsible for that and how do we communicate that out and how do we kind of drive that progress. So it's a good meeting. It was a really helpful reminder for me of some of the things in the plan that I don't necessarily think about every day. And I'm looking forward to seeing that progress continue. So that's committee updates.
Nice.
I said I'd talk about, any questions on any of those committees? Great. Projects, we talked about Smith Academy carpets. We talked about the elementary school with the OPM side. We're working as well on putting the bid for the boilers together, the bid documents, and we want to start putting together the bid documents for the design for the roof. Our OPM will help with that considerably. We also, of course, have the funds to do the repaving of the parking lots at Smith Academy, Hatfield Elementary School, and at Billings Way. So we're putting those specifications together, and we'll kind of lean on the OPM for their take on if it makes more sense to wait at Hatfield Elementary School until the roof project is done. A little bit of concerned about trucks working on the roof with new blacktop or anything else. Might make more sense to wait for the year after. So they'll help us figure out the sequencing of that project as we put together those
Well,
bids.
if you wait, would the cost increase?
It's
That's the
possible the
problem.
cost will increase, but also I'm worried about the risk of working on those lots with if they were just done with heavy equipment. So it's something to think about.
All right.
We'll look at it either way. And it's also possible that we could get better bids if we try not to squeeze it in this season if folks have already lined up their projects for this summer. So we'll try to get some good advice on the best process to take here. But that's where we're at.
Well, I mean, if they do the parking lot, they could tell us if the heavy trucks, the way they're doing it's going to cause,
Mhm.
could cause any damage or anything.
No, they definitely could.
But, okay.
Yep.
Unless they take over the whole project and they do one later,
Mhm.
like next year or whatever.
And do the other
okay. Whatever you guys
No,
work
no,
out, that's fine.
that all makes sense. Those are important considerations. And then we already talked about Route 5, so we're all set on that. And then on grants, we're kind of in the waiting stage right now for most things. I have a grant update that was in your packet as well, the late packet, that goes through some of the grants that we've applied for and received, or are waiting on. So the One Stop for Community Growth includes a number of economic development and housing related grants. We applied for MassWorks funding that would help with that design for expanding of the utilities of the water sewer lines for the northern part of Route 5, as was talked about. We also applied for a grant that would help us with zoning and planning assistance. So thinking about implementing some of the ideas for the comprehensive plan in updating our zoning. And then I applied for a municipal ADA improvement grant. We'll find out about that in the fall. And we had applied for the MVP Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program. That was the project with the ditch mapping. So we'll find out if we received that. I'm hoping we did. And then there aren't many that are open at the very moment. We should look at the next round of the Green Communities grants. We are a green community. We can always look at if there's energy efficiency or other related projects to make sense for us to apply for. And then I don't believe that we're currently in the Complete Streets program. So it could make sense to look at if there's any projects that would make sense to drive forward if we joined that program as well. So that's a state project where if you adopt a Complete Streets policy, and you put together a prioritization plan of streets where you can improve both pedestrian and biking and public transportation and vehicle access, you can get construction funds for doing renovations at any priority intersections or areas. So it could potentially help with funding new sidewalks, it could help with other things we want to do in town. So if we put together that prioritization plan.
I know there's been something on the internet with the state approving some kind of funding for rural communities for dirt roads and stuff. So I don't know if the state has sent any information on that, because like Straits Road or something like that, whether we could get funding for from the state, because they're going to be targeting specifically small communities or rural communities and dirt roads. So I remember reading something about, so if you hear something about that, let us know.
Definitely.
We haven't heard anything from District 2 yet, but, because I think the funding just got approved recently,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken, so.
I feel like they haven't released the actual program guidelines on that yet, but we'll look out for that and get back to you for sure.
Okay. And I know sometimes Maya has funding for different stuff, but I don't know what they have available.
Yeah, Maya does have a safety grants program that is open every calendar year. So that is open now. There's $10,000 at least that would be available to us for things we want to apply for. That money can go quickly. We actually had a request from the DPW to look into purchasing a guardrail mower, which would be a lot easier to use for our staff. It's only around $7,000 and it would save a lot of work that,
Oh,
that our
nice.
seasonals do. So I think the safety grant would probably support that because it's much better for safety of our workers. So that might be something to explore if the board's interested in us doing that.
Nice.
Definitely.
Anything with safety is great.
Yeah, it could be a good purchase.
Great.
All right, so that's it for my update. Unless the board has anything else they want me to be looking into.
Colleagues, any comments or?
Good. Good update. Thank you.
All right. We'll go to topic 11.
So last time we had done a brief conversation about setting goals for FY26. Want to keep this on the agenda. If the board has any thoughts about particular goals that they had, whether those are just kind of one-off items to try to finish or larger projects we want to try to think about, I'm happy to take those and I can turn it into a more comprehensive document. I can keep this on the agenda for next time to keep talking through as well. But if you have any thoughts on that tonight, happy to take some.
Okay, so I've submitted you some of my ideas. So you guys can submit him your ideas and then we'll go through the list and we'll try to prioritize or decide whether they make sense or not make sense or whatever.
I kept finding myself echoing a lot of the goals that were outlined in the comprehensive plan when I was sitting down and making my list. So I think, and I would imagine that some of the things that are on your guys' list as well probably are on that. So I think it would be helpful if we get the report back from the implementation committee as well and see how everything aligns on that rather than
Start with your own stuff.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And it's a lot better to be coordinated with
Absolutely.
everything, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I think that plan is more important than anything because that's been worked on for a long time and it's a really great plan. Just getting forward with that. I
Right?
think they thought of everything already pretty much.
Nice. So I know there was, when we did this culvert, the state has a culvert program
Mhm.
for that inserts and stuff, but you have to apply. There's no guarantee you get it, and it's a process. And they actually review, part of that plan is reviewing all your culverts and giving assessment to the town. So whether that's a worthwhile grant for this town or not, you guys can, if you get a shot, take a look at it and see, I guess. Because that would save a few dollars. Because this last culvert, I forgot what did we pay for this last culvert? It was,
Was, I think, around $240,000
Yeah,
that was at the special
240,000,
meeting.
yeah.
So,
so that was a large culvert.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I guess that should cover, unless you guys have any unfinished business for
I do not.
discussion. With that being said, do I have a motion?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Motion carries. We just have to sign all these things here.
yes, please.